On May 3rd, 2023, at night, 2 drones attacked the Kremlin. Russian authorities kept everything confidential for about 12 hours, then released the news. The propaganda immediately went irate. How could they? They crossed the biggest and the last red line. We will show them now. But who was behind these drone attacks? Well, Russia waging the war on Ukraine, it's no-brainer. Of course, it was planned by the evil Satanists of the West and executed via proxy Ukraine. Plain and simple, folks. There you have it. Don't even bother thinking for yourself. We have done all the thinking. You just sit back, relax, get some popcorn, drink some vodka, and watch TV. Everything is already explained there. We have thought everything for you. But I personally like to do my own thinking. I am not an expert on anything military, but I am an expert on asking common sense questions and putting twos and twos together. I started making very basic analysis of this situation, and right from the start it smelled very fishy. The more I thought of it, the bigger the smell was. I invite you to ask these 8 simple questions along, and perhaps they will give us an understanding who is truly behind the drone attacks on the Kremlin. Question number 1. Why silence for 12 hours? There were 2 attacks. The first attack happened on May 3rd at 2:27 a.m., first drone, and the second attack happened on 2:43 a.m., the second drone. But the first official message from the government was released at 2:35 p.m., over 12 hours after the first drone attacked the Kremlin. Now, that's extremely odd. Extremely odd. What was Russian propaganda? And I remind you, Russian propaganda has exclusive rights for the news of this kind in Russia enforced by Gulag. So what it was waiting for 12 hours? Remember 9/11. Imagine if the American government would keep the information about first attack silent for 12 hours and only then release it. Odd, odd, odd. The second question is, what about radio silence around the Kremlin? Such attack is nearly impossible to execute by an outsider without special knowledge or special help or special equipment. Let me tell you a thing or two about the surroundings of the Kremlin. It's radio wave dead zone. Mobile internet doesn't work there. I tried numerous times and I had troubles with location services, with ordering taxis, etc. And the dead space was created, you guess it, for the very same reason that the drones would not fly over the Kremlin. And that was a long time ago, way before the war. But now, at the time of the war, the security must have been upped a great deal. Makes sense, right? So, how two consumer drones penetrated all this dead space and flew over the Kremlin and smashed into it? Good question, right? But wait, some are saying that those drones were special purpose military drones sent all the way from Ukraine into Moscow. That, to me, sounds absurd. How two military-grade large strike drones could fly over the western part of Russia from Ukraine to Moscow, that's a few hundred kilometers, unnoticed by the Russian air missile defense system. Remember, folks, that's supposedly the most advanced system of that kind in the entire world. Trillions of Russian rubles, taxpayers' money, have been spent over the years to build and maintain this marvelous system. So how in the world two large military drones could fly from Ukraine all the way to Moscow, penetrate the system, and reach the goal, smash into the Kremlin? I don't know about that. Fishy, fishy, fishy. Third question. Who benefits? It's a very simple question. It's straight to the point. Who benefits? Well, certainly not Ukrainians. There is no purpose for them to do that. To show that Russian air defense system cannot intercept attacks? Well, it's been proven many times before. Launching an attack like that would be like poking a bear that has rabies with a small needle. There's no harm, there is no effect from the drone attack to Ukraine whatsoever, in my humble opinion, of course. Now, for the Russian government, that's a completely different story. They can give excuse now to the Russian people for escalation bombing Ukraine. They can cause more fear among regular citizens of Russia. They can ban drone possessions and operation in the entire country, then confiscate existing drones and send them to the front lines. They can announce the start of domestic terror campaign, looking for domestic enemies. Too many benefits to mention here, really. Now, folks, these are strictly my opinions, and if you disagree with them, please share your opinion in the comments right below. Question number 4. Who launched the drones? Let me tell you another thing about the area around the Kremlin. It's 100% surveyed at all time. Supposedly, it is the safest area in the entire Russia. Video surveillance and secret agents on the ground dressed as tourists and locals everywhere. And I mean everywhere. The authorities, and it's guarded by KGB, a special unit, not your local cops, would pinpoint and arrest drone operators within minutes after the first attack. First attack, and there was a second attack 20 minutes later. You know, I think it smells fishier and fishier with every question. By the way, folks, if you have found what you just heard interesting, please consider hitting the like button and help me spread the message by making reposts of this in your social media accounts. And please keep on tuning in, because I make such news updates on regular basis. Question number 5. Why at night? There is no one in the Kremlin at night. Certainly not Putin. So why at night? Perhaps because at night it's easier to plan and execute an inside job, right? Easier to penetrate, deactivate, or disrupt security systems with the inside know-how. Think about that. Question number 6. Why this attack was immediately labeled as assassination attempt? Right from the start, Russian propaganda started calling this attack Putin's assassination attempt. Why? At night, when he was not even in the Kremlin or anywhere close to the Kremlin. Very strange choice for assassination attempt time. But wait, is there something we don't know? Perhaps Putin likes to spend nights daydreaming on top of that big dome roof? Very odd. Also, the entire world knows that the Ukrainians, they don't want Putin dead. Oh no, they want him to appear in Hague International War Crime Court. So why assassination attempt then? Gets more and more odd. Question number 7. Whether any historic precedents? Russian government has a very extensive experience of setting up and executing false flag attacks. Remember Finland, 1939. Remember Afghanistan, 1979. Remember Russia, 1999. Am I forgetting something? Any more oddness of this attack? Folks, if at this point you liked what you just heard and wondering how can I help this marvelous YouTube channel, then I have an answer for you. The best way would be to buy me coffee at buymecoffee.com or become a patron on patreon.com. Either way would be appreciated and welcomed. The links are down below. Thank you. And finally, question number 8. It's the last and biggest question. Why two successful drone attacks did so little damage? What I see in numerous videos of the attacks is more like a Hollywood action movie scene. Big explosions with virtually zero damage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that even one real explosive would do an extensive damage to that dome. Moreover, a blast wave would have been big and loud, and nearby windows would tremble, shake, and some of them would have been blown out by the blast wave. So it is pretty clear that the damage would have been extensive even after one attack, and there were two. So after putting these 8 twos and twos together, do you think that this attack has an inside job or false flag operation written all over it? Or do you think I'm exaggerating? Please let me know in the comments below.